Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I have a really exciting show for you today. I have someone in the business that's been wildly successful and also spends her time giving back. So let's welcome Elizabeth Navarrete to the show. How are you doing this morning, Elizabeth?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
Oh wow, you're so welcome, and you have such a great smile. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tell us where you are and kind of where your little slice of pie is in this real estate game.
Okay, great. Yes, well, I'm located in Houston, Texas, and we are currently expanding to other markets. We're in the Dallas, San Antonio market and looking to expand outside of Texas as well. I've been in the industry for quite some time. I got in the industry in 2003.
Oh,
It's interesting though, yeah, it's been a long time, but everything, the moment that I started in the industry, I pretty much started reverse.
hmm.
So my first role in real estate was become a real estate agent.
Ah,
That was the first thing that I did, right? So most people start wholesaling, then flipping, then becoming an agent. I did pretty much the reverse. So I started as a real estate agent in 2003, and my bread and butter at that time was pretty much retail sales. So
okay.
I was your typical realtor, getting people in my car, showing them houses or listing houses and that. And pretty much that was what I was doing full time. Passively, I was doing real estate investing. I started in Chicago and then I expanded out to Houston. And what we were doing is that we were just acquiring properties in different parts of the city that needed to be fixed. And then in Chicago, you have the mixed use where you have the storefront downstairs and then you have the residential upstairs. So we would buy a lot of those, fix those up, lease those out, or we would sell them, we would flip them. Again, that was very passively. That we were doing that when Flip This House and all those fun HGTV shows came out and we wanted in. And but it wasn't really like a business for us at that point. Then 2008 happened, and this is something I tell I share across the board, is that 2008 was really the end, but also the beginning of something amazing. Because we were just doing retail sales and then passively investing, we realized that retail sales was no longer going to be our main focus. And so we did that shift, but it wasn't an immediate shift. Don't think that as immediately as soon as all our banks closed down and we no longer had a place to send our buyers to, our borrowers to, it's not like we had an epiphany right then and there that we were going to start investing. It took us some time. And during that time, what we had to do, we had to downsize because we were living between Chicago, which was very expensive, and we could no longer do our business there. And because of our model there was the refinance, or also the sales side of it. You could no longer refinance because the values were so low of properties. So, and in Illinois, you were able to refinance up to 100%.
Wow.
So that really, right. So that really, really did a number on us in that sense. So we decided to move full time to Texas. So we had to pretty much sell our business in Chicago, sell our homes, sell our cars, do all that, and just come 100%, come in and focus our business in Texas, which was the 80% rule. So you could only refinance up to 80%, which really helped with the values of the properties.
Yeah,
And so we were
there's
able to
go
survive
ahead.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
So much stuff that you did between 2003 and 2008. I just want to make sure I kind of piece it together. So if we just
Sure.
focus on Chicago, um, where did the portfolio kind of peak as far as, I guess I'll call it units? I mean, are we talking 2, 5, 10 properties, this mixed use type? And what's the bottom commercial, I'm guessing, like retail, dentist office, and then upstairs, I guess, apartments?
Yes, yes. So like a coffee shop downstairs, or we even had our mortgage company was downstairs and there was an apartment upstairs. Even where we
Ah,
officed was mixed use. Yes, that's very typical in Chicago.
okay.
So not so much here in Texas, because here you have shopping centers, versus in Chicago you do, but mainly the city is comprised of mixed use property,
Very cool.
especially inside the city, not the suburban area.
And were you licensed in both states?
I was actually only licensed in Texas.
In Texas,
And
okay.
so what I was doing, yes, what I was doing in Chicago, a lot of heavily marketing. is what we were doing.
Yeah.
And just because money was coming so easy, and I have to admit it, that's how it was. It was crazy money, and we were very young, so we were very ridiculous. We weren't frugal at all with the money, and we were not managing it well. So when 2008 hit, it was really just a screeching halt is what happened to us in our business. What we thought was working wonderfully was no longer the case.
Yeah.
So, and I was doing retail sales, particularly in Texas, but I would fly a lot to Chicago because we just had a lot of clients over there, and just doing the marketing. I was doing a lot of radio advertising.
Wow.
Tell you, we were just, we were doing a lot of great things with the company, but we really weren't prepared for something like what 2008 happened.
Yeah, there's so much stuff to talk there. And another thing is, I actually don't talk to lots of people that started, because it's almost 20 years ago, right? I started in 03 as well, just as a buy and hold, boring landlord. So nothing exciting like yourself, flying around multiple states, having a good old time. But yeah, to talk about the 03 rise and then to have that screeching halt is something we should talk about, right? Because I don't know about you, but there's lots of talk about we're closer to the end than the beginning of the current seller's market, right? Some people even say we're topping out. What is some advice to people that you want to give to people that have only been in the business the last 5 years, right? All they have known is no days on market, near asking or over asking, everything sells. What is your advice to people with only 5 years experience that don't have our 2008 scars in memory?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is have multiple streams of income. Do not depend on only one thing. Have several exit strategies, and also, like I said, multiple streams of income. So if you are doing wholesaling, focus on the areas where not a lot of people are focusing, like tertiary markets. That's a great place to focus on, because you'll be able to buy low, and it's not like you're going to later have an issue if you do buy and holds with those, or if you end up trying to flip those. Those markets are very stable because they're not going so high in value so fast. Be careful with that. When you see values going up really, really fast in certain areas, those are the ones you want to be conservative. And so as far as Texas is concerned, my main thing, and right now what our focus is, we're not buying anything over an ARV of $250,000. We're seeing that market, anything above the $250,000 mark in Texas, it's really going to sit on the market for quite some time. It's going to take a little bit longer to sell, and try to stay away from those $1 million homes.
Yeah.
The buyer pool is very small. It's very reduced in the $1 million homes.
Well, yeah, it's not only reduced today, but this economy has one little hiccup, or interest rates tick back up, it'll go to nothing in a heartbeat. Yeah. Yes,
you have I hear a lot of talk of people saying, well, I am going to create the highest value in my area, the highest comp in my area. That's great, but yeah, I know, I say that too. I'm like, oh, that makes me cringe, but it's like, hurry, sell it. But don't risk it. Now is not the time to risk. So it's like when you go to a restaurant, when you're really, really hungry, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to venture into trying something new today. You know what, just stick to your regular entree, that you just stick to what you know. Don't experiment now, because if that happens, you're not going to know what to do, and you're going to either get foreclosed on, or something terrible could happen, and you definitely don't want that. If you are in residential and you're looking to getting into commercial or multifamily, proceed with caution as well.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah,
right?
the market cycle is real, and
yes.
I'd say a third of my time is talking to people with less than 5 years experience that have only known the good times, right? Their properties have gone up 50%, cash flow's gone up $200, whatever it is. But I remember people being worth $10 million and going bankrupt in about 15 months in 08. That's not good. right?
It's not good. And yeah, we were on the verge of losing homes and cars, and we were really when I say we were missing payments, we were missing payments because we were not prepared. And I really, that really instilled some fear in me for some time. I'm not going to lie to you. So when we were able to get back on our feet and I started doing some closings and getting some money in, I was the one that was like counting every penny, every dollar that was coming in. And I wanted to keep it safe, keep it, and never let it go away. And my better half, which is also my business partner, he was like, no, we need to reinvest this and make this money grow. And I'm like, no, I don't want to lose everything again. I really fear was limiting to me. And so it took me some time. And when I mean some time, I am talking about 2 years to finally define what we were going to do. And you have to constantly reinvent yourself in this industry. Just because you're doing one thing and you're doing well in that one thing, you really have to be open to pivot and shift to where the market indicators are leading you to, because they do. For example, we've been acquiring a lot of flips lately, and now we're like, this is a lot of work. Flipping is a lot of work. It's fantastic. However, it's a ton of work, lots of management, lots of adult babysitting, which I don't want to continue doing. I mean, really, you may have phenomenal contractors, which are a dime a dozen, right? Yeah. However, you still have to manage your projects. You still have to be on top of what materials being put in, if it's put in correctly. Little details are the ones that take the longest, right? That punch list is usually the one that takes forever to perfect and get it finalized. We're shifting more towards, let's just stick to wholesaling. Maybe that'll be, that's where we're focusing our efforts now. And even then, as wholesalers, you have to continually shift your marketing strategies, because not one strategy works. We started with mailers, and then we've shifted to cold calling. Now we're relying heavily on text campaigns. So you have to be open and just be. It's like I've never been surfing, but I would imagine this, right? When you're surfing, balance yourself out, and just go with the waves.
I love that. And the concept of adult babysitting, so perfect analogy. I'm gonna tell my contractors, you know what? I feel like you're an adult babysitter. That's just perfect. So after 2000, so you go to Texas in 2008, 2009, and you plant your roots.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I lived here already, but we were here part-time.
Right.
We were mainly focusing into Chicago, because I'm telling you, the values were going up at least 23% per year. And people were just refinancing on a yearly basis. Yeah. Ridiculous. It's just, that's all people were looking for. It's like, oh, I can't wait to refinance again. Yeah. It's like, you really want to do that? Yeah. I have to put it back in my business. I want to consolidate all my bills. And I mean, it was like that. Yeah. And then of course, back then you still had that pick your payment. I don't know if you were aware of that program.
Oh, yeah.
You know about that one? Pick your payment. Oh, I would just look at those payments and I was like, look, you really want to stick with your principal, interest and tax payment fully. You don't want to do this whole, you're just paying interest, because then your principal balance is never going to go down. But people were not thinking back then.
Even worse, at least in California, we even had negative amortization. So not only could you pay principal and interest or just interest, but you could slap more debt on the house.
Absolutely.
That's why the 2008 crash was a financing problem, because lending got too creative. Let's just call it.
Absolutely. Will we have another 2008? I don't think so. Possibly not, because of the lending guidelines now are so restrictive. So, underwriters are now looking at every single thing. Most people say now, the talk in our industry is like, I think underwriters are looking to just say no to every single loan. And that's good. That's a good thing. You don't want them to easily give that yes, because those ninja loans are the ones that really hurt us back then. So
no question. And I think this is great. Two people that both started in 2003 saw and personally experienced the craziness of the 2008 rise and crash. I don't see the crash. It can happen. Too many people have 30-year debt with a 3 or a 4 on it. It's fixed. They have skin in the game. There's no ATM machines going on with just taking money out every year.
Right.
We will have an event. We'll probably even have a debt event. It just won't be in real estate. It'll be in corporate debt or, the Asian crisis or somewhere else.
Right.
It just can't be residential real estate with what's been happening the last 10 years. So very, very cool. So you plant your roots in Texas, you go after, so retail turns off, you pivot to something else. What happens first? So let's call it 2010, because you spent 2 years holding the money and counting every penny. Did you go right into flips or buy and holds, or, what were you doing like 2010 to 2012?
So what we did is during that downtime that we were trying to figure out what to do, we also went to South America. And so in particular, Ecuador. So we were in Ecuador and we had access to some land development out there. And that's what we pretty much focused on for some time. So that was able to give us some income for us to do something here in the US. And so what we did was we pretty much went full on into flipping.
Okay.
We did some wholesaling, but I think we stumbled upon, it was more like we stumbled upon wholesaling because it wasn't like it is now, where you have YouTube channels and all these shows and all these classes and all these seminars. It wasn't like that back then. It was just right. So now it's like I tell people, look, you have all these tools that are available to you for free that you can log on and just look on how to fill out a contract and how to do these things, how to negotiate and cold call and all these things. But so going back to that, we started flipping. That's what we went into. We got a couple of great deals and they had a lot of meat on the bone. So we decided to flip them. And then, like I said, we stumbled upon wholesaling. So we were doing a little bit of that as well.
So paint me a picture of their trajectory. So 2012, 2013, you and your business partner were doing 10 deals a year, 50 deals a year. Where did the momentum begin?
Right. Again, because of everything that happened the years before, we went slow. Yeah. We were probably doing 2 to 3 deals a year. Okay. And then I was doing a little bit of retail sales, very minimal, and some wholesaling as well. But we were not like a big company or anything. It was just us two, and really we weren't. We were just doing a little bit of everything. And so when we started flipping, we realized that we had this phenomenal idea, this grand idea to start our construction company. Okay. Because we had some setbacks within our couple of, I guess by the 4th, 5th property, we had a setback with our contractor. And the contractor thought it would be a great idea to take $30,000 from us between 2 properties that we had. Took off. We paid $15,000 for one to start with stage 2 and $15,000 for the other one to start stage 3. And he just went MIA on us. And so that was a big setback. We were like, oh, that's a lot of money. But what do they say, right? If you haven't lost money, you haven't really been in this that long. Yeah. And we learned right away that we needed to be careful with that. And so we just decided to start our construction company. And we started with 2 people. My dad was our project manager, but he only managed himself and another guy because we had another kid that had just moved from New York because of also the crash and everything that happened. He just wasn't able to survive over there. Yeah. So he came to Texas, and we're like, okay, we're going to start a construction company. 2 people. That's our team. And we just grew little by little. Yeah, we had to outsource a lot of things, but at least we started like that. And we grew our company to what is now about 35 people on our crew. Wow. And we're doing right now about 7 flips currently. So we range between 7 to 10 every month if you average it out, not precisely every month, right? Because they overlap. Some take a long time to close, some close faster. So overlapping, we're there, plus the wholesale deals that we do.
That's amazing. Just as a point of reference, when the construction company started with 2 people, was that like 2014, 2012? Where does that fit?
About 2012.
Okay.
2012.
All right. And now 2019, mid 2019, 35 people, 7 flips, give or take a month. So that's what,
Right.
7 times 12. That's you're knocking on the door of 100 deals a year. That's very impressive.
We're averaging that. Now we're also wholesaling. So
Sure.
that's another thing. Like I said, so you see that pattern where we were just doing retail sales and now we're
Yep.
like construction company, we're doing flips, we're doing wholesaling. Now it's a little overboard, but we feel safer that way because we can
Yeah.
always say, okay, you know what, we'll get rid of doing flips, and that's not going to hurt our economy, our financial situation in our household and in our business. We'll be fine. We'll survive if we don't do flips anymore. We'll be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's pretty much what we're gearing towards at this time, man.
well, you're, as you shared earlier, you're taking the lessons learned from the '08 pain, implementing multiple streams of income. So really, no matter what happens in the real estate economy or the business economy, you have the flexibility to move up or down to be okay. Because the market's not going to everything's not just going to, there's suddenly not going to be an invention where people don't need homes, right? So you're
Right.
you're going to be okay. That's
Right.
awesome. So
Right. And if you think about this, sorry, Michael, one thing, you have 80 billion homes to be bought in the whole US. So that's a lot of homes.
that's a lot
That's
of
never the way. People will always need a place to live. So if you get into the buy and hold or you do this the owner financing, you'll be fine. And that's another exit strategy that we've also implemented because we acquired so many rentals. And we were noticing that the management of those rentals were becoming a headache for us. So we converted our rental portfolio into owner finance homes. So we owner finance them, and we no longer have to deal with the management or the maintenance of those homes.
Yeah. So let's walk through the buy and hold strategy. So when you added your first rental, what year was that roughly?
So we added our first rental early on, like in 2003. Yeah, we had a few then, and so we did buy those very, very low. So we were okay with those. Just the properties that we were flipping were the ones that we were affected, but the rentals were fine because when that situation happened in 2008, people were losing their homes, but they still needed somewhere to live. So rentals were the way to go.
Yeah, no question. That's how we were. We it hurt. I know it hurt, but we survived because we had the rentals. So you take it from '03 beginning, add a few rentals. Was it always single family homes or duplexes, residential stuff, or did you add an apartment building or something else?
We had a couple of apartment buildings in Chicago.
Okay.
Yes, we had a couple of those there. Like I said, we were doing not just residential, but multifamily and also mixed use.
Yeah. Very, very cool. So then you get to the point you're like, wow, I don't like being a property manager. Again, adult babysitting perhaps, or tenant babysitting maybe. So you flipped to owner financing. Is that is there a standard note? Like, do you do 30 years or 15 with a 5-year balloon, or do you have a standard owner finance?
We do. So we do 30 years, and we would like for our buyers to refinance within 5 years.
Okay.
That's pretty much what we look at. And then the terms, we stay at about in the 8%, high 8. Mm-hmm. We try to keep it not too high because once you get in the 10% and all that, to me, it just seems quite high.
Yeah.
And so 8% is where we like to stay at. Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like your intention with this program is for them to refi out, as opposed to going, I can't pay it, evict me, or foreclose on me.
We're not in the business of foreclosing, and we really prefer not to.
Sure.
Because that's a family there. That's a family that's living in that home, and you really don't want to take their home away from them.
Yeah.
That's just not our business model. So we work with them Sometimes if we need to extend, we'll work something out, but we really don't want to foreclose on them, especially the owner finance buyers that we have. They're like the perfect renter, so to speak. They're not renting obviously, but they pay on time and they pay more, and they're really working hard to bring down that principal balance. And so those things are taken in consideration, and we really just choose not to foreclose. If we have to, then we do, but we try not to.
Yeah, sometimes life events happen where that's the only option. But I can definitely tell that's in your mind. It's like that's the last thing we want to do. That's awesome.
It really is the last thing, and that's not the reason why we flipped our rental portfolio to that, to say, well, we're going to foreclose on these people. It's mainly just the management of it, the maintenance of these properties. It gets to be a lot when the phone rings. Even if you have a management company too, it's just a lot. Yeah. So we decided that, we decided to just pretty much just convert those into owner finance properties. It was easier for us.
Yeah, no,
other things.
I think I'm already thinking about 5 to 10 properties that maybe owner financing is the right idea. So thank you very much. That's a great idea.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Thank you. So Elizabeth, now if you look out, I don't know, you're so much fun, 3 to 5 years, what are you going to do next? I mean, what are you going to do next? You seem to be doing lots of stuff already.
So my next goal would be to get into commercial real estate, but I'm going to do that slowly. I'm not going to go in there like just head first and dive in there, because what did I say at first, right? Yeah. Stick with what you're good at, and if you have to pivot, do that. Yep. I want to do it because I want to get that experience. I want to learn about that. I'm already raising private capital for my flips. Yep. I'm already doing all those things. I'm thinking, speaking to a couple of colleagues, they're like, look, you're already doing what is called syndication. So you're doing it short term. We can help you. We can teach you to do it long term and do it for properties that are much higher in value. So that's something that I'm working on. I have a couple of mentors in the industry that have been amazing, that have been guiding me. So I'm going that route. I actually have a deal right now, a multifamily deal that I was thinking of wholesaling, but I'm actually considering now heavily on keeping it. So working on that right now. Yes. Very,
very cool. So if you go out 3 to 5 years, you still have the construction company, I'm guessing?
Possibly not.
Oh, really?
Possibly not. Possibly not. And I'll tell you why. Right now, just the liability of having these properties, and you're pretty much in the end, after all these months and all these headaches and all the hair pulling, you make almost the same thing as if you were wholesaling it, because we're doing our own marketing. So, and the reason why we did that is because we were just not getting any good deals from wholesalers. We were getting your standard 70%. Everybody sticks to that 70%. And it's like, look, if you do reverse engineering, you do much better. Yeah. You can make a better spread, and your buyers will be much happier. However, we just decided to do marketing ourselves. So we're acquiring deals at 46% of ARV, even as low as a couple 40% of ARV, and it's all about rapport, right? You just have to build that rapport and be personable and be authentic, be yourself. And if you're not personable, work at that, because that's a skill that will really land you a great deal, and you're also helping a family that's just frustrated and wants out. Yeah. So as far as the construction company goes, I mean, I'm just, it's draining. It's draining. We enjoy it, but it's draining. And so little by little, we're cutting down. So we're now to our last couple of flips. And I think we're just that possibly will dwindle away at some point. Yeah. I don't foresee that happening. I don't foresee carrying that on for 5 more years. Okay. Honestly. Right.
And then,
I like to maintain my youth. I'd like to maintain if possible. Have you seen those memes where it's like, oh, I've been in real estate for 5 years, and then, it's like the aging, all the wrinkles. I like to maintain my youthfulness. So I don't think I want to continue with that construction company for that long.
Very, very cool. So I guess the other question I failed to ask earlier, on your acquisition team and your kind of wholesaling business, how big is that today? Is that all virtual assistants? Is that an office? What does that kind of look like for you?
It's mainly comprised of people that we have overseas.
Okay.
So we have a couple of people from Venezuela and Nicaragua that do our cold calling, and they do our transaction coordinating. So that took a long time also to acquire, because it's really, really hard to find the right fit, the right team, the right people. We were focusing before on having people local here in Houston and fill up an office and have people in. But we were noticing the turnover rate was quite high, and it's because people say, look, you can make all this money. Why can't I just do that on my own? I can do this. I have it down. Yeah. And so they would leave. Yeah. We still have quite a few left from the team that we started. So we had a solid 10. Right now, of those solid 10, we have a good 5 people left. Mm-hmm. Physically here in Houston, but we have a lot of people overseas. That's and awesome. So the way we did that is that we're creating the entrepreneur spirit, because that's obviously, you're going to make more money being an entrepreneur than working for somebody else and making a salary. Mm-hmm. So we don't focus, our efforts are not based on salary for our team. We base it on a percentage. You're going to make a percentage of this, and we tier it out. So with our overseas team, we tell them, look, if you become a team lead, you make a percentage of the leads that your teammates acquire. So you have no idea how many people take ownership of that. They love that. They eat that up all day long, because you're putting them in a managerial position, in a place where maybe they couldn't have done that on their own. And so they really run with it. It's their baby. And so they have team, they have team challenges where they say, okay, whoever brings it in the next deal on my desk, it's $50 bonus. And so people will work for $50, because you have to understand that the salary in Venezuela, a monthly salary is $8. That's the increase now. It used to be 5, it's now 8. In Nicaragua, it's a little bit higher because their economy is a bit stronger than obviously Venezuela. Unfortunately, with Venezuela, we have the issue where our team, half of the time, they don't have electricity or internet because of their government. So with the people in Nicaragua, they're on full time. So they take a full-time schedule, and they earn a little bit more.
That's so it seems like there might be 20, 25 people, virtual assistants and teams and all that out there for you?
No, I would say, about 15 to 20 is where we're at right now.
That's amazing. Very cool. Yeah. How much time does that take from you or your business partner? I don't know if it's a week or a month, how you want to look at it, to manage or train?
So I don't really handle that aspect of it, because I'm doing other things that I enjoy doing more. Honestly, delegate. You have to delegate and stick to what you really are good at and what you enjoy doing. So what he does is it takes him, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really figured the hours out. But what he'll do is he'll log in. We'll do every week at the start of the week, we'll do like a weekly huddle, where, okay, these are our goals for the week. Where are we at? How did we close out? And obviously at the end of the week, we do that too, but we always review. This is how we closed out last week. This week can be better. These are the kinks that we had to iron out from last week. This week, this is what we expect. And so our team is very independent. They really don't reach out to us unless they're really stuck on something. Okay. But we've really worked hard at training them. And they've also taken the initiative, like when we train them, since they're not local here, our VAs, they record our calls. For example, they'll do a Skype call instead of a Zoom call. They'll record it and they'll review it. That way they don't have to call us. And how do you do this for the comps again? And how do you do that? They just refer back to the video, and then we have binders now that have that state what each position does, what a dispo agent does, what an acquisitions agent does, what a lead manager does, so that helps a lot too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Elizabeth, this has been so much fun to see where you started in 03, the pain of 08, and now what you've done in Texas is truly amazing. Congratulations. How can people follow you or get in your network? Because there's a lot of stuff going on.
Okay, well, you can follow me on Facebook. I'm guessing you'll tag me here in the comments. So Elizabeth Navarrete, you can find me there. You can find me through my company page, Houston REI Network. And also you can find me on Instagram. I just changed my handle to REI CEO. because it
Ah,
used to be a different handle, and I'm like, that's complicated. So after much soul searching there, I found REI CEO is my handle on Instagram. You can also find me Houston REI Network on Instagram as well.
very cool. That REI CEO, that's just no dots, spaces, underscores, just REI
No,
CEO. Wow, that wasn't
REI
taken?
CEO. It wasn't taken. I can't believe it either. Yeah. So I wanted to keep it short
No,
and
perfect.
simple without the spaces or anything. So, yep, REI CEO. And also, I wanted to go ahead and just announce that we're having a big event here in Houston that we're spearheading,
Yeah.
October 4, 5, and 6. Anybody's welcome to come. We will be giving announcements very soon on who our speakers are and all the fun stuff.
Very, very cool, Elizabeth. Well, thank you very much for doing this. This has been a lot of fun. Your story is amazing. I love it when we can go back to '03, talk about the silliness that we all did, the pain we had, and how we changed going forward and evolve. So thank you very much. This has been a great time.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
You got it.